Connecting with the land has always been the foundation of my spiritual journey and what has truly enriched my homesteading endeavors. Midsummer, or the summer solstice, also known as litha, falls on the 21st of June. On our homestead, midsummer marks the time of the wildflower and the season of real growth in the gardens. Along with midsummer, litha, and the summer solstice comes a plethora of correspondences, associations, rituals, practices, and other traditions that people have held and observed over hundreds of years. For me, in my life, here on our homestead, there is no right or wrong way to honor and observe the changing of the seasons, but I do want to bring you along while I sink deeply into gratitude and presence here in the forest I call home, getting in touch with the land, noticing the subtle shifts of the seasons, and cultivating joy. It's the small things imbued with intention that have the most impact on my daily life. The changing seasons, the Sabbats that mark the turning of the wheel of the year, are perfect reminders to really be present and intentionally shift with the seasons. I intentionally choose warm, sunshine-inspired colors that are the correspondences for midsummer. Bright patterns, yellow nails, gold jewelry. I even go as far to switch out my bedding for a summer bed set that are warm tones, with light linens for the hot summer nights, all tying in many layers of correspondences and intentional shifts for the season. It's things like these, intentionally choosing gold jewelry, red dresses, and brightly patterned kimonos that might seem silly, but really anchor me into the shifts of the seasons, incorporate the correspondences of midsummer, litha, the summer solstice, and totally ignite my inner child who absolutely loves playing dress up. So while I may feel silly from time to time, I simply remind myself that I live in the forest, I don't have neighbors, and it's midsummer. Listening to the birds and the creek while I drink my coffee and think about all that I get to do today is the perfect way to start a midsummer morning on the homestead. Because the forest is absolutely full of wildflowers, the top priority on my list for summer solstice is harvesting herbs, foraging for wildflowers, and other medicinal plants that I'll preserve to use in the months to come. Connecting with my local forests, the fields, and the woods is what I do in order to discover what is in season and what is available for me to forage and utilize. Living in tune with the seasons and in tune with nature means developing a reciprocal relationship with the earth. No relationship functions when all you do is take. As I walk through the forest, I often spend time in immense gratitude, exchanging small gifts of tobacco, or mentally making a note of additional places that need compost, weeding, pruning, maintenance, and some tender love and care. A few themes that tend to come up when people are discussing Midsummer, the summer solstice, or litha are themes of transformation, power, purity, celebration, and fertility. These themes are prevalent in the natural world around us if we slow down, open our eyes, and come back in tune with our natural rhythms. When you look at the flowers, when you see the plants and the trees growing, you know the soil is fertile. You know Mother Earth is producing her harvest and her abundance. You can see, feel, taste, and smell the richness all around you. There is a transformative, powerful urge that occurs in the forest in the beginning of these months. The forest is reawakening. The bees, the butterflies, the insects are out and about. They're here to play and do what they do best. Many of the wildflowers that are blooming this time of year are invasive species. My mother and I, who live on this homestead together, have slowly been expanding our knowledge and researching indigenous species and ways that we can help mitigate the spread of any unwanted or invasive species. This is a slow learning process. The forest is vast, and I do not want to influence, shape, or in any way hinder its natural wisdom and design. Our intention would be to help slow or remediate the influence of humans and the unfortunate spread of species that compete with indigenous varieties of trees, flora, fauna, and everything of the like. This has been a pivotal part of the reciprocal relationship we are fostering here on the homestead. The meadow on Midsummer is magical. There are birds, bees, and butterflies everywhere. Tall stands of birch trees, bracken and fern, and a plethora of bright blooming flowers. Because many of these flowers are invasive, I don't have to pay as much attention to careful harvesting practices, as they are often in competition with indigenous and local species. With that being said, I never overharvest from one plant, and I do my best to slowly meander through the forest and pick only the flowers I feel called to. Gathering wildflowers like this really brings me back to being a little girl on walks with my mom, picking flowers, dandelions, daffodils, and daisies, giving them to her and expecting her to carry them for the next 45 minutes. This forest is my home, and I am constantly reminded how blessed I am that I've gotten to grow old with these trees. I've sat on these trees and these stumps and with this soil since I was 11 years old. The connection I feel and the sense of peace I experience when I'm walking through this forest is unique and deeply sacred to me. While wildflowers might not have medicinal properties, they sure do balm the soul. Bringing in handfuls of messy, sporadic, and wild-looking bouquets is something that never grows old. These bouquets are bright, colorful pops of reminders and anchors to the natural world just outside our doorstep. The messier, the better, because they usually find their way into a simple mason jar and are enjoyed on a counter here and there for a few days. It is not lost on me how blessed I am to not need to pick wildflowers to bring home. I have the opportunity to walk out my front door and find myself deep in an old, beautiful forest, rich and full of life, with a creek, with flowers and trees and rich soil to commune with. Through my homesteading journey and endeavors, I have strived to make my everyday chores, gardening, taking care of the chickens, or walking my dog, part of my spiritual journey, living a life intentionally and in tune. This is why celebrating Sabbats, solstices, the turning of the wheel of the year, or any other holiday has begun to look a little more mundane for me. As opposed to building altars, creating complicated rituals or meditative practices, I simply find myself walking in the woods. The mental space that walking in the forest has given me has been monumental in my spiritual growth, my personal relationships, and how I do everything in life. Having the time, the calmness, and the quiet to contemplate is what has brought me deeper into myself and has really given me the freedom to co-create with the world in a new, bright, and vibrant way. Dipping my feet in the creek, listening to it babble down the gully, watching Ripley play and frolic, this has become my meditation. This has become my communion with the Creator. This communion with the Creator, with Mother Earth, Source, Energy, God, or Gaia, has brought a level of depth and richness to my life that is priceless for me. There is a particular path on our property that over the years I have come to see as Strawberry Lane. These strawberries were one of my first introduction to how vastly different wild foraged fruits or homegrown vegetables are to that of which you purchase in a store. This strawberry is no bigger than my pinky nail, and the flavor, the juicy sweetness that comes from this strawberry is uncomparable. The tiny alpine strawberry plants are so fun to hunt down, and when you have the luck to find a small strawberry blessing and eat the tiny fruit, you are transported right back to your childhood and experience strawberry flavor like you have never before. The excitement of walking down a path and scavenging for the tiny wild strawberries that are just coming into season, and having the privilege of finding a tiny strawberry blessing is a special kind of life, and I am, again, deeply grateful. Whether you are looking to simply get in touch with the natural world around you, or to dive deep into ancient and traditional practices of honoring the wheel of the year, getting out into nature is a pivotal way to sink into the season and soak up all of its teachings. In addition to the abundance of natural wildflowers that the forest has gifted us with, we have been cultivating our own medicinal garden here on the homestead. Living so high in the mountains means it's a little cooler here a little longer. So what we have available to us in the garden this time of year are things like chamomile, yarrow, oregano, valerian, and a few other herbs and flowers. Cultivating indigenous plants like yarrow is fairly new to me, but something I began to do with the intention of maintaining a reciprocal relationship with nature. Yarrow has been used for its medicinal properties for thousands of years. The name of its genius, Achillea, actually refers to the warrior Achilles in Greek mythology, as he used yarrow to help treat soldiers' wounds. As the story implies, yarrow does help with healing wounds, so I'm looking to add it into poultices, ointments, and salves. I'm also intending to use yarrow in teas for its ability to aid with digestion, menstrual cramps, and other things like IBS symptoms, depression, as well as anxiety, and even brain health, as a few studies have started to show that it helps with certain disorders like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. Chamomile is a very common herb that is used medicinally, magically, and mundanely frequently. It does incredible in our garden for all of the early spring pollinators and has a plethora of medicinal benefits. It has been shown, of course, to help with sleep and relaxation. But chamomile's ability to aid our body and our system goes far beyond that. Chamomile has been shown to help with inflammation, osteoporosis, even diabetes and blood sugar. I've come to use chamomile in many of my skincare products because it helps to treat acne, repair sensitive skin, and is extremely hydrating. If you have not used chamomile in skincare products or as a tea, it is something I would highly recommend, as it is fairly safe for everyone to use, adorable to grow, and all around brings me a lot of joy. Hanging herbs, dehydrating flowers, as well as pressing flowers are all on the roster in the evening on Midsummer. There is a part of homesteading that people don't seem to talk about much, and that is how much time and effort goes into preserving the harvest. This is a topic that I'm very passionate about. The best way to honor the gifts that nature has given us is to make full and dutiful use of all of the harvests we receive. For me, this means intentionally trying to waste as little as possible. Hanging yarrow, dehydrating chamomile, and pressing wildflowers are all ways of preserving the harvest and continuing to honor the gifts and the blessings of the forest. Taking my time to create beautiful, messy, wild bouquets is a meditation unto itself. After immersing ourselves in nature, foraging all day, and soaking up the solar goodness that is midsummer, we eventually find our way into the kitchen. Baking my first ever sourdough bread is a way I chose to intentionally honor the grain and sense of abundance that this season brings. I don't know what it is about a freshly baked loaf of bread that just sings abundance deep to my soul, but I feel rich when I have the opportunity to bake bread, and I am so excited that this was the time I chose to dive deep into the sourdough world. Being my first loaf leaves me with lots of room for improvement, but I am overwhelmed with the sense of abundance and luxury that fresh bread so easily provides. Food of any sort, be it a complicated bread recipe, a simple tea blend, preserving the harvest, or a feast with friends and family, is a unifying factor between what motivates me to homestead and what feeds my soul in my spiritual practice. Living with the seasons makes food the center of attention all year round on the homestead, and truly, I wouldn't have it any other way. The sun is setting on summer solstice, and I am left feeling full, grateful, abundant, and in joy. This is what midsummer looks like on the homestead. This is what it looks like to live intentionally, honoring the seasons, and finding little moments of magic and sacredness in your everyday life. I am so happy to share these words and images with you, as this video has become a part of how I have chosen to honor and observe the summer solstice this year. Now, I'm off, beautiful people, to have a bonfire, sit with loved ones, and overflow with gratitude and joy for the beautiful world I get to be a part of. May the force be with you. I'll see you all back here for another video. Bye-bye for now.